Today we're going over some advanced UCL or elbow strengthening exercises for athletes who have a partial or a non-operative UCL tear. We did a video in the past on basic ones. Today we're back with the advanced ones. Let's talk about what you need to get these exercises done. So what we got here is a couple bands. We've got just two random bands. Any type of band really works. You can use a cable column here and a belt, but bands are great. So we've got two bands. A furniture slider or floor slider is great. You can also use like a paper plate on carpet, something that slides on the floor a little bit and is a little bit rigid, so not like a towel. And then from there, what we like to use here is a ball. I prefer like a gel-filled ball, but you can use any sort of ball that you want as long as it bounces on the wall. Heavier is a little bit better. We use 2 pounds. For the one exercise I'm going to show you guys here in a minute, where we're working on the grip, doing a furniture slider on the floor, baseball works good as well. So we'll kind of talk about that as we go. These are the tools we really need for this video. Keep in mind, these are elbow strengthening exercises, and we're working on elbow strength, but it's very important you get your shoulder strong, all the muscles around your shoulder blade, core stability, work on your throwing mechanics. All of those things are extremely important if you have a UCL tear. Today, we're going to cover some advanced exercises. And if you guys haven't yet, go back and check out my previous video where we talked about basic exercises to do in the presence of a UCL tear or where you should start. We've also done videos in the past you guys can check out as well on prognosis, UCL tear types, and some other exercises there. If you're ready for the advanced ones, this video's for you. Let's get started. One of the muscles that's very important that we didn't talk about in the last video is this pronator teres muscle that stabilizes the inside of the elbow and attaches to the same 2 bones that the ulnar collateral ligament attaches to. So we're going to train that first. We love the pronator curl. The pronator curl, whether you use a band and you're kind of just hooking it up, keeping it on the outside of your wrist here and turning to that palm down position, really hits that pronator hard. We're going to use a dumbbell with a lot of our athletes and just a nice belt of some sort that the athlete can hold on to, because that way we can scale it. But a nice firm resistance band works really well. It should be difficult, especially as you reach that bottom position. This is a muscle that goes often overlooked, so make sure you guys are doing this right. We program it with sets of 3 sets, usually anywhere from 8 to 20 reps. Often we're going to failure or to form failure, meaning you can't complete any good repetitions or you're starting to kind of compensate with the bicep or those sorts of things. So we really like this exercise for that. And then from there, we go back into more grip-based training, and we talked about how important some of these grip muscles are for stabilizing the elbow. And this is where we make those exercises much more challenging. So let's check out what we're doing with that furniture slider on the floor. Now with this floor slider variation, we're going to use a claw grip. The claw grip is very difficult. It's very different than keeping your hand flat on the slider. You're going to try to use a claw grip and try to keep your palm up if you can and try to squeeze or grip into the slider as hard as you can. So you're really gripping in like Catwoman or something, gripping into that slider. What we found is that we start on a floor that has a higher coefficient of friction where it's more difficult to push the slider out when there's a little resistance on it. Then we move to the carpeting where the slider can move around really freely. That makes you work much more harder to control the motion as you come out. Now, when you do this exercise, one of the things that we want you to do is we want you to not let that elbow flare up and out. So as you come down, you're getting to this 90-90 position, like where you throw from, and you're in that claw grip. We want that elbow to be close to the floor. So this actually supplies a little bit of a valgus load, that outward bending force that loads the UCL, but now we're forcing the forearm muscles to compensate for that by squeezing them as hard as we possibly can. So we're activating the forearm flexors and grip muscles to do the job of stabilizing the elbow as opposed to relying purely on that ligament. So as you go out, don't let your elbow flare up. If you find that you can't do it without letting your elbow flare up, you've got to work on some of the other stuff first, or you have to find a floor where your slider doesn't just completely slide off of. So find something with a little more friction on the floor. Once you've done that, another variation that you can attempt that's a little bit more specific to the way you're going to grip the ball is you're gonna use that heavy ball or a sand ball, even a baseball, but a baseball is very difficult, and you're gonna grip it as hard as you can, whatever pitch grip that you wanna work on. And from there, you're gonna go into the same slider variation, but without letting that elbow come up, the elbow stays down and close to the floor. This is a very, very difficult exercise. We usually program these 2 to 4 sets of about 6 to 8 reps. Whatever you can do with good technique, and you're welcome to do it from the knees as well. Chase is a stud, so we've got him doing it off his feet for the most part, but we'll also have him do it off his knees if we want to hit a higher rep endurance type of set. Now you're gonna grab onto that ball you just used on the furniture slider on the floor, and we're gonna do what's called throwing holds. We're starting to integrate the muscles on the inside of the elbow, stabilizing the elbow as you move through a throwing motion. So now you're gonna actually squeeze the ball and move through a throw in the same mechanics that you would use on the field. And this is where we talk more about the importance of mechanical efficiency, because UCL tears don't happen for no reason. Most of the time, people are doing a good job of managing their pitch counts, but they're not strong enough where they need to be, and their mechanics are far from where they need to be. And that's why we've created all the programs that we have on our website, overheadathletics.com, for you guys to move through those programs, get your throw efficient so you don't load your shoulder and your elbow in the same ways that lead to injuries over and over again, or in this case, have led to your UCL tear. And so we've put in the description a discount code for those. However, here you're gonna continue to work on your throwing mechanics as you strengthen your arm with these throwing hold variations. Start with something of a moderate weight for you. Maybe that's 8 ounces, a normal baseball's 5, maybe a little heavier than that, up to 2 pounds. Usually we don't go above 2. We're doing 2 in this video, and that works really well. That way you start to train those muscles to work and stabilize that elbow over the course of the throw. And from there, we move into something that trains those forearm muscles to work at a high rate of speed, co-contract, meaning contract all the way around the elbow with a ball tap variation, and this is with a gel-filled ball. And that gel-filled ball gives us a little bit of rebound. You could use a basketball here. I like the smaller, heavier ball. It really forces you to work a little bit harder. You can go up to 4 pounds here, and sometimes we do that as well. But we start with a 1 or 2 pound gel-filled ball against the wall as fast as you possibly can dribble it. The next variation we're gonna do, we're gonna start to work the shoulder internal rotators, which means the muscles that kind of do this in the throw, the accelerator muscles. They have to resist your arm going back and then help to accelerate it forward. And we can use bands here. You can use a banded setup with a handle. I love the handle variations because it works on forearm strength as opposed to a wrist strap just around the wrist. However, I like the flat bands. And the reason I like these flat bands is you can roll a baseball in the band and hold a baseball and grip the baseball in the same way you would when you throw, which is going to train some more specificity of the muscles that stabilize the elbow as you throw and grip the baseball. So from there, we'll take another band, whatever band we decide to use, and it goes near the elbow, and I pull forward with my glove hand. That forces me to activate my deltoid, my shoulder muscle here, and helps me to isolate one of the rotator cuff muscles that comes around and stabilizes the front of the shoulder and is a big time internal rotator and accelerator muscles on the throw. That helps me isolate it out from some of the other big muscles like your pec that becomes overly tight and sometimes overpowers the movement. So the band around the arm really helps me, but we'll do like sets of 15 to 25 reps on this one to really isolate out that muscle and train the forearm by gripping the baseball at the same time. Make sure your elbow is slightly out in front of your chest and your elbow is flexed. We like it inside 90 degrees because that stabilizes the inside of the elbow a little bit more and makes you kind of more resistant or resilient to that bending force that occurs in the throw where your arm lays back. Here's some advanced elbow exercises. Make sure to give these a try. Let me know how they go in the comments section below. And if you're somebody who has a UCL tear and wants to work on your throwing mechanics, don't hesitate to reach out and check out some of the programs we've put together for you where we've counted every rep and thought about mechanical attributes of the throw as well as the loading of the shoulder and the elbow. We've put that in a program that you can follow over 30 days if you want to do a short one, or 12 weeks if you want a longer one. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're going to have more videos on these UCL tears, and we'll see you guys in those videos.